The H1B Guy here, and today, the H1B Guy news for the week ending February 12th, 2021. But before we get started, I'd like to ask you, if you haven't already, to please subscribe to the H1B Guy channel here on YouTube and like this video so that I can continue to produce more content like this for you. I also wanted to mention the H1B Guy offers a variety of consulting services. I help businesses and individuals solve complex work authorization issues in the recruitment process while bringing awareness to employment-based immigration benefits. If I can help you, please reach out. I'd love to hear how. Today's news is brought to you by RecruiterNetworks.com, the smart solution for digital perm ads since 2001. This sure felt like a very quiet week for the news. Oddly quiet, for sure. I did, however, start reading the book Wretched Refuse by Alex Nowrasteh and Benjamin Powell. I hope I can keep up, but the introduction has me intrigued by the question they'll be looking to answer. Are immigration restrictions that prevent exchanges between would-be immigrants and people residing in destination countries likely the largest policy-induced economic distortion in our global society? Wow, that's a pretty deep thought if you ask me. Now, the news. February 8th, 2021. In two separately reviewed, updated news releases on USCIS.gov titled USCIS Strengthens Protections to Combat H-1B Abuses and DHS Announces Final Rule for a More Effective and Efficient H-1B Visa Program. Quote, in publishing this policy, USCIS clarifies existing regulatory requirements relating to H-1B petitions filed for workers who will be employed at one or more third-party work sites. This policy memorandum makes clear that employers must provide contracts and itineraries for employees who will work at a third-party location. The guidance, effective February 22, 2018, explains that in order to file an H-1B petition involving a third-party worksite to be approved, the petitioner must show up by a preponderance of evidence that, among other things, the beneficiary will be employed in a specialty occupation and the employer will maintain an employer-employee relationship with the beneficiary for the duration of the requested validity period. Release date, February 22nd, 2018. Last reviewed, updated, February 8th, 2021. And then the second one, quote, the final rule reverses the order by which U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, selects H-1B petitions under the H-1B regular cap and the advanced degree exemption, and it introduces an electronic registration requirement for petitioners seeking to file H-1B cap subject petitions. The rule will be published on the Federal Register on January 31st and will go into effect on April 1st through the electronic registration requirement will be suspended for fiscal year 2020 cap season. Release date, January 31st, 2019. Last reviewed, updated, February 8th, 2021. Speaking of quiet, the new administration has now reviewed, updated two Trump-era changes. The first is a policy memorandum targeting H-1B employees working at third-party client sites, and the second, a final rule moving the H-1B lottery petitioning process to electronic filings. The first thing this indicates to me is that H-1B change of employers, extensions, or amendments for H-1B employees working at third-party client sites are going to continue to be adjudicated under a microscope. I fully expect 12-month extensions to be the new norm going forward for these cases. In all honesty, we saw this trend well before President Trump took office. The second thing this indicates to me is that electronic filings for the H-1B lottery is here to stay. It also leads me to believe that we're very close to seeing electronic filings for continuing employment and change of employers implemented by the end of 2021, as I previously predicted. February 10th, 2021. In a news release written by David Grunblatt, Erica Lumba, Valerie McPherson and Jennifer Wexler for the National Law Review titled H-1B Updates, CAP H-1B Electronic Registrations Open, Trump-era wage selection process delayed. Quote, the H-1B CAP registration period for the fiscal year FY2022 will open at noon EST on March 9th, 2021 and will close at noon EST on March 25th, 2021. Similar to last year, all H-1B CAP registrations will cost $10 per registration and must be submitted online during the open registration period. Following the open registration period, USCIS will conduct a random selection of applications and will notify those selected by March 31st, 2021. The employer registration accounts are not yet enabled for this fiscal year. While it appears that employer accounts created last year can continue to be used for this year's registration period, we await formal guidance on the account creation to proceed. This news broke last Friday after I had already covered the H1B Guy news for the week ending February 5th, 2021. Here we go. March 9th through March 25th, 16 total days. It's lottery season and you've got 25 days. Believe me, you want to be in on that very first day. This is a slight change from what we previously assumed would be the portal window opening, which was scheduled for March 1st through March 20th, 19 total days. Within 6 days of the portal closing, those who have been selected will be notified. Not bad. I can remember it taking until May and June to be notified of being selected, not that many years ago. I'm still very interested to see the overall number of petitions USCIS is going to receive this year. I've predicted less than 200,000 petitions, and we'll find in a matter of weeks how far off I was. February 11th, 2021. In an article written by Genevieve Douglas and Jordan Fabian for Bloomberg Law titled Biden Eyes More Foreign Workers While Skirting H-1B Visa Uproar. Quote, Joe Biden's immigration overhaul seeks to allow more skilled foreign workers into the U.S. without stirring widespread protests from labor groups whose opposition would all but ruin prospects for what is already one of the president's most precarious priorities. Business groups view the proposal as a way to increase the supply of coders and other skilled tech workers for U.S. companies without raising caps on programs such as H-1B visa for high-skilled workers. There's debate over whether tech companies in the U.S. need to import workers. Engineers and IT professionals are among the hardest positions to fill, according to the Manpower Group. And businesses say that as a consequence, they're forced to look for foreign workers. But immigration opponents say the U.S. labor pool is deficient, pointing to the number of Americans who receive degrees in computer science or related fields. Companies that employ foreign workers are anxious to see changes to the legal immigration system, especially after Biden's early slate of executive action stopped short of immediately repealing former President Donald Trump's pandemic-related visa curbs. Biden's orders directed a review of many Trump migration policies with the aim of eventually rolling them back. I attended a webinar yesterday and I heard Britta Glennon, an assistant professor from Wharton School, make a case for increasing the overall annual allotment of H-1B visas due to talent demand. I'm sure some of the thought process is based on the total number of petitions that are received each year for the H-1B lottery, as well as certain skill shortages. I asked the question on Twitter, and under the assumption that we were heading towards 100,000 H-1B visas annually, most of the suggestions were to cap H-1B visas based on country of birth if the overall allotment was going to be increased. My response to that is we need to address country caps overall and implement a first-come, first-served system before increasing H-1B visas. I thought about caps on H-1Bs a lot, and I'm just not in favor of it. I'll continue to speak against the logic behind it. More restrictions are not going to solve the real problem. One suggestion that I did find very solid was to increase the overall number of H-1B visas allocated to U.S. advanced degree category. I think that's a very likely possibility. But back to the article. This is really a lot of what we've already known, but we're really beginning to see big tech's influence creep into this new administration's policies towards high-skilled temporary foreign workers. There's no doubt that President Biden was left with a fairly good-sized mess to clean up, and that wasn't limited to just immigration. Just feels like we should have seen or heard more based on all the hoopla surrounding the Day One U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021. To read the full post on the H1B Guy news for the week ending February 12th, 2021, please check out the H1BGuy.com. And don't forget to sign up for the mailing list while you're there. A reminder that today's news was brought to you by RecruiterNetworks.com, the smart solution for digital perm ads since 2001. This national job board network provides recruitment websites in 1,024 major U.S. metro areas. Each local job board is its own portal and is a low-cost resource for immigration recruitment ads for all industries and professions with a flat price of $225 per ad regardless of which city you choose. RecruiterNetworks.com has been the #1 place for immigration attorneys, immigration ad agencies, and employers to meet the DOL requirements for the digital portion of the perm advertisement rules. RecruiterNetworks.com. Tell them the H1B guy sent you. Just want to ask you again to please like this video, subscribe to the H1B Guy channel here on YouTube, and click the bell for notifications so that you're notified anytime we post new content to this channel or go live like we will next Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern for the second episode of the Documented Dreamer series live. If you've made it this far, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I really appreciate your support. The H1B Guy, your global source for all things H1B.